Welcome back. You're now watching the political segment on the weekend show. With President Muhammadu Buhari signing the age reduction amendment in the Constitution, which was popularly called the Not Too Young to Run bill, more younger people have been able to get into politics. However, it's still alarming to find out that out of 109 senators, only 7 are women, and we have only 22 women in the House of Assembly. Now, in recent times, we've had agitations for the National Assembly to add an extra seat for women in the different, in the House of Reps and the Senate to increase participation of women in politics. But beyond running for seats, women and youth play a vital role in every election. And as we enter the 2023 elections, or election season, we will be having a conversation to find out the role of young people and women in the upcoming election. And joining me for this conversation, I have Honorable Mrs. Patience Charles Kwachi from Adamawa State, running for, I'm contesting for the Federal House of Representatives seat for Michika Magdali Federal Constituency. Welcome to the weekend show.
Thank you for having me here.
Our pleasure. We also have Ire Ayo Afolabi joining us to have this conversation.
Thank you so much for having me.
Madam, it's a huge step for you to be running for this, and I do applaud your courage and your tenacity to do this, and it's a very welcome idea for you to want this seat to represent your people. But how crucial and important is it for women to have a seat on this table?
Thank you very much for having me. I mean, this is one topic that is very, very dear to my heart, and I think we need to talk about it over and over and over again, not to get tired of talking about it. You will agree with me that demographically, women and youths are the majority that constitute every election in every 4 years. But sadly, they are the minority when it comes to, decision making, right? And that is because we have not prioritized the need for women and youths in our political space today. In your introduction, you made mention of reduction of forms. You know, some parties give out free, some parties give out expensive. Yes, I am contesting for the Federal House of Representatives under the flag, under the political party of the APC, that's the All Progressive Congress, to represent the good people of Michika and Madagali Federal Constituency in Adamawa State. And I got my form for just ₦1 million. Okay. Now it is 10 million naira, right, for the Federal House of Representatives. But for we the women, we were asked to pay just the nomination, just the expression of interest fee, okay, you know, and that's a huge step. Why did I say so? Because we have more women, you know, coming out and saying, okay, we want to run for the Federal House of Reps, we want to run for the State House of Assembly, we want to run for the Senate seats. It doesn't just stop there. One of the reasons why we experience little or no, visibility of women and youth is the expensive nature of our politics. It doesn't just start with signing the bill of the Not Too Young to Run. It doesn't just start by giving out free nomination forms, right? What are we saying about the delegates? The primaries are almost here. Nobody is talking about how expensive and how cumbersome it is. You have logistics to move around. Now, the money bag politicians have made the space so tight, right, thereby throwing out whatever amount of money they want to throw out just to clinch the seat. Now, these are people that don't even necessarily have the interest of the people at heart. And let me tell you something, decision making is better when you have diverse experiences seated on the table. Now, this is where a woman comes in. You can't tell me that you're a man, with all due respect to our men, you can't tell me that you can sit down and defend the interests of this woman when it comes to child care or maternity care every 9 months, right? You don't even know what it entails to take those drugs that need to help the formation of the baby. So it is a woman that sits on that table that says, okay, it comes to child care, it comes to health care, right? I know this field more than you know this field. I should be able to make decisions and push and press for the benefit of those women and youth. And like I said, we are the majority. Now, women and youth are the hot cake. You're looking for the young people to go and campaign. You're looking for the women to go and sing. They are the cheerleaders. But when it comes to decision making, you see that they are very, very faint and not visible. And I choose not to agree with the fact that they say, where are the women? There was a time I was arguing with a politician, and he said, where are the women? The women are not visible. Have you made the field a level playground for the women? I have come out to say I want to run, but I can tell you with every sincerity, you don't want to know the kind of hurdles I am going through. I am young, I am vibrant, I am vocal, I can defend the interests of my constituents, I can make laws, I can defend their interests, but I can tell you they know that I have the capacity. But the next thing they ask is, do you have the money? Money for what? Am I here to buy you? So those are the kind of things that kill the vibe. Let me use that word.
I love it.
Right? Yes, if I'm allowed to use that.
can.
It kills the vibe. We want to run, but the space is expensive. The system is expensive. The process is expensive.
I totally understand with you. I won't say I agree with you, but I don't know if I'm allowed to. However, young people also, the older generation say all we do is talk, but we've seen young people advocate for several changes that have come to being. But she has said something extremely important. With all our talk, with all our number, why is money still a major factor? Considering the fact that 65% of the Nigerian population are people between the years of 18 and 40. Why is money still a hindering factor when we have the numbers?
All right, thank you so much. I must start by first commending the efforts of political office holders, the aged in quote, for the efforts they have made, especially contributing their quota to the development of the country holistically, and then of course the efforts they are still making in ensuring that the goal of the nation is achieved by of course, as it's been planned, 2020, 2030, as the case may be. However, I must say that when the tenure of a generation expires, they must admit that it is time to leave. And when a now generation are willing and ready to take up the duty of effecting a change, they must equally accept the responsibility of coming in to join politics, to be in politics, to hold offices. Now, we are not advocating for just political office holding. We are here to change the narratives. Now, this is the point. When we come out to sell a form for 100 million, let me give you this information. An average minister coming out right now to vie for the office of, in quotes, the president will not be able to recover his 100 million in over 8 years. Even if he's to be in that ministerial position for 8 years, he would not have been able to recover that. It would take the vice president, for instance, about 8 years and 3 months to recover his 100 million naira. It will take the governor of a state 8 years and 8 months to recover the money. This is going by their salary, and these are individuals who are not likely going to spend this number of years in the offices. Okay, the youth have been asked to pay 50%. You pay both the interest and the nomination form is 50%. The question is, are we selling the seats? Because if all we do is to get into the offices and then it's really looking at as though the office is for the highest bidder, then we're not about to change the narratives. In 2014, I could remember the presidential nomination form. Of course, that's about what it's common. It's no longer news. In the APC was about 26 point something million in 2014. In 2018, it was jacked to 45 million. Now it's 269% increase of that. That is what we have now is 100 million. Now for governorship is 669% because it was actually selling at 3.3 million. Now it's 50 million. And one begin to wonder, how then can the youths who should come in with no intention, with no mind of getting corrupt, with no mind of changing the narrative, come in to be part of politics? The point is, not too young to run bill is not enough. We must ensure that we empower the youth, not just getting people who will give money to a group and say the group are contributing. No. That's not the idea. Because that's what we find everywhere. People saying that a group has contributed to buy the form, while we know that there is no group anywhere. It is the politicians, it is those aspirants who still get to the group, give the money to them and ensure that we do all of those things. And in the name of, we don't want it to look as if we brought the money from our pockets and getting these individuals to come in. The point is, if we are ready to actualize the new Nigeria we're seeking, we're defining the entire system, we're defining the entire sector, where every aspect of it will be vibrant, then the youth and the women has to be given the opportunity at no capital cost. Because that's exactly what we're seeing right now. It's like it's a highly, as a matter of fact, somebody will say that the cost of nomination form is embarrassing. It means that individuals who have the capacity, who have the innovation to get this delivered are not being given the opportunity. A friend of mine, we're engaged in a conversation. I was saying, these individuals who are in politics right now, why is it that they go outside the country, they see these nice, beautiful things, great infrastructures, stable education, state-of-the-art sectors and facilities and all of that, yet they're not able to replicate it. I said, yeah, we have aged individuals with expired minds. And this is with due respect to those who are currently holding office right now. It is normal, as a person grows, his mental capacity to deliver effectively drops. Okay, so when we have individuals like that in politics and the youth are not coming in, we keep having expired system, expired administration, expired governing of the entire state. Okay, it's just like, as I also grow, okay, my mental intelligence drops, and these are individuals we are having in offices, so who cannot also remember even the last conversation they've had with the last person before they got into another.
So Falabi, I believe young people are ready to run and have the capacity. However, if you see what goes on social media, it's fellow young people who are paid by these older politicians who, in quotes, like you have said, some of them, their mental capacity is almost expired compared to the realities of today. It's younger people who are paid to defend these people. It's younger people who are attacking other younger people online, because it comes down to this factor of money. He who pays the piper dictates the tune. Yes, so how can we have a mental reset for young people to know that at the end of the day, if NEPA takes lights, it doesn't care, or AEDC or PHN, it doesn't matter if you're in APC, PDP, NNPP or the like, we all suffer it. You are in Abuja, we had fuel scarcity last week. It's regardless of political party, how can we reshape the mindset of young people to know that beyond the money you are collecting, your nation is at stake?
Okay, thank you. The word I would always start with is participate. Participate. Don't be part of rupturing a system. Get into the political parties. Be a part of active politics, not passive, not behind the scene. Let's all come. The issue most youth would have is lack of resources. So because I don't have the resources, let me just get what I have to get. The truth is, you're going to get it now. You're going to suffer the next 8 years. And that's what many of us get into right now. Okay, so I came up and I felt that, okay, it is important to start expressing interest. And I came up and I said, okay, as president of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, and I came up with all of those, and individuals, youth, friends were asking me, are you serious? Do you really want to do this? Do you want to do that? I had the highest of comments on my poster, on my Facebook, and all of that. Sir, the nation and the world at large has gone past the test of locality. We are already running on the pedestal of universality. I mean, if a nation as Nigeria cannot bring the youth cannot come forward, we are not just going to be going to extinct in a short while. The name Nigeria may not even be heard, because for instance, in education sector, we used to say that, okay, it is low education. Now it is no education. Scarcity of fuel is something terrible. So the point is, the youth who thinks that all you need is to support the age to get into political offices should rethink. The future is here already. These individuals in a short while, 10, 20 years, will no longer be here. We're going to be left here to suffer all of the things we've made.
While in some cases, their family members and children replace them. But let me bring you back in. As a result of the low numbers in the National Assembly, like you stated rightly earlier, we've seen the Gender and Equal Opportunity Bill hit several setbacks. We've seen in the recent constitutional amendments where one of the proposed ones was to get an additional seat for women in the National Assembly. That got struck out, even after the wife of the president was at the National Assembly to appeal to them. And that's because the number of people who are meant to vote in the National Assembly are not enough. And so beyond participating, how can women hold the people in power accountable? It's time for election. Most of them are going to go back. I'm sure there are some men running against you. How can women disrupt this system to ensure that we are part of the decision-making process? And by we, I mean women.
Thank you very much. One of the ways we can break this whole bias is by getting involved. If you don't get involved, then you can't increase the numbers, right? Now, when I say get involved, when we talk about women participation in politics, what comes to my mind is Rwanda. What comes to my mind is India. In India, you find out that women participate at the grassroots level, talking about the councillorship, the chairman, the House of Assembly. Now, these are the people that are closer to the grassroots. They get involved in the political party system, right? Contest for elections, votes, go out to vote. You see that our women these days have decided, okay, we can't just do this. They keep pressing us, they keep kicking us and all of that. Like I said, I'm having a lot of challenges. Like you also said, I am running with men. When I say men, I'm running with giant men. You know, and when they look at me, they say, this small girl, this small girl. They always make that reference. The determination to increase the numbers in the House of Reps is what is pushing me. And that is what should be a major push for every single woman. Unless we have the numbers, they will keep throwing out bills that favor us. Then after they have done that, they will all come back and say, sorry, it was not me. That was why they were smart enough to use the secret ballot. If they had gone open ballot, I can assure you the bill would have scaled. Because they don't want, you will know who voted and who did not vote, and will be waiting for you in your constituency. But they made use of the secret ballot because they don't want the public to know who voted and who did not vote. Now, I want to commend the wife of the president. This is the first time such thing has ever happened in our country. She has come out to show the world that I am a pro-women inclusion in politics. Just day before yesterday, we had a program with her in the villa where she called all the female aspirants running under the flagship of the APC to come together in the State House to discuss women participation. And we had the representative of the national chairman, and she said, we are not begging, we are demanding for women participation in politics. Now, for my women back home, now is the time to come out and support your fellow woman. We have the numbers. 50% of the total population in this world are women. Data has proven that. Now, if you have 50% of this population, that means you are a major determinant factor of who wins at all levels, right? Come out in mass, encourage your fellow women, and when you see your fellow woman running, make sure your vote is for that fellow woman. I wish we can even do the men go for the men and the women go for the women. And I can assure you that we'll have more women in parliament, right? But we are encouraging democracy. We're encouraging togetherness. So we don't even want it to be, okay, women for women, women for men. But with the way we are going, the men are pushing us to almost take side with women for women. So yes, women need to get involved. You need to come out. I understand it's expensive. The logistics, the campaign materials and all of that, you need funding to do all of this. And why can't we even have a system in place where you have mentors that invest in their proteges? We have women politicians. I want to put it out here to every single woman that is a politician that has enjoyed one or two favors and is holding positions at various levels. We need, and you need to start investing in your fellow women. Have a system in place where you identify potentials, you identify competence, you bring them out, go out and lobby for the funds, have like a trust fund in place. that when these women come out, you identify their capacity, you bring out the money and give them money to run for these offices. But you can't just sit down and say, oh, we're encouraging women participation in politics, and you're not giving them a dime. Because politics in this country is very, very expensive. And not every single woman can dash out 10 million naira for primaries. Now, we are meeting delegates every now and then, calling delegates every now and then, because they are the ones that will be nominating. Often at times, those people go for the highest bidder. Very few people look at the potentials you carry and say, okay, I am not doing this for my today. I am doing it for my children tomorrow. So whoever emerges the flag bearer of the party is what the people out there will have no choice but to vote for. So now, while making the king, make a king that is going to be useful to the whole community and the whole society, right? You have women running. I think for the seat I am running, we are just 2 women. The other women just picked up the form, I think, barely a week ago, right? So we're 2 women and like 5 men running for this office. But I can tell you something. The men think we're just joking. The men think we're just wasting our time. Does she have the money? I have gone to meet a couple of stakeholders, and I'll tell them, this is my vision, this is my blueprint, this is my manifesto. I want to do this, I want to do this, I need you to be on board with me. The next thing they'll say, oh, it's good, you're vocal, you're this, you're that, you've done so many things for the party, you've done so many things for the community, but do you have the money? Now, if you have identified that I have the capacity and you have the money, let's do trade by barter. Give me the money and I run for the office and I make impact for my community. So it even starts from the support. My brother said something. He said, it's not about signing the bill into law. It is more than that. That is the first step. We commend the president for doing that because we've been pushing for it for a very, very long time. I also want to commend the APC for giving women free nomination form. But I don't believe in free things. I don't believe in free things, because once somebody gives you something for free, the next is, but we gave you form for free now. So what are you saying?
So we've done our part.
We have done our own part. So it is an elastic, right, to kick you out at the primaries.
So I have a question for you as we reel this in, and I know election campaigns haven't fully started, but I know you have a vision for your people. I want you to let us know, what do you plan to do different? What is this vision? Why should it be you? What do you plan to do that is different from what all the other people who have had that seat have done?
Thank you very much, my brother. I come from a very disadvantaged constituency, talking about Michika and Madagali. This is a place where till today we sleep with our eyes one open and one closed. You see, there are checkpoints every now and then. You're living with guns and military men. The Boko Haram has really, really affected us. And as such, we are backward compared to other constituencies. As I'm talking to you, for the past 8 years, there have not been lights in my constituency. Now, what I hope to do differently is I have realized that there's a breach of communication between the representative and the electorates. In a situation whereby we finish the voting, you give me your votes, I go back to Abuja, you don't even know what's up with me. You don't even know what is happening with me. I come back in the next days, I have become a lord over you instead of a servant. Now, for me differently, I am going to be the servant of my people and they be my masters. They tell me what they want. Gone are the days where we just sit down and we just think, okay, I think this word. I'm running for 26 words. 16 from where I come from, 10 from the other sister local government, right? So 26 words, and I'll sit down and say, I think this word needs bohol. Now, that is not the kind of representation I am bringing. I am bringing a representation that is going to be closer to the people, where we put in place a town hall meeting every 3 months in a year. We sit down together. You tell me, as I'm taking off from my constituency, what you expect me to tell the federal government, what you expect me to speak on the floor of the House. Now, when I get there, I will push. Whatever I've been able to push, whatever I've been able to get done, I will come back home after 3 months and keep you abreast. I have done this, I have done this, I haven't done this, I haven't done that. Now, we have an opportunity to get this done, to get this done, to get this one. Can you please tell me where you think the location of this will be useful? Not for me to just sit down and decide because my uncle is in this place, I want to take you to this place. That is not the kind of representation I am bringing. It will interest you to know that regardless of this population, this 26 wards I've spoken about, we don't have a diagnosing center. We have to travel for like 45 to 1 hour, minutes, to get to a local government called Mubi to run a scan. Now, for me, one of the things I want to do is to immediately get a diagnosing center in this constituency. How many people have died on their way to get to Mubi because they want to run a scan? Now, when you bring a diagnosing center, you have eased the movement of those people. You have lessened the burden on them. You are employing your own constituents to work in this diagnosing center. We don't have an ICT center. Now, this is a constituency that brings out massive recruits of either soldier, either police, either Air Force, right? Customs. No jam center. They have to travel all the way to go and register for these things. Why don't you bring it to this place? Employ the constituents and they work in that place.
I think you have really great plans for your people. We will definitely bring you back, most likely after the primaries, to have a conversation. But we use different mediums to push different messages, and one of this is TV, and it helps for the people to know what to ask for from their representatives and their leaders and people who go in. I'll let you have your final word in 2 minutes, but however, I want you to also speak on this briefly. We've seen young people crowdfund a lot. During NSAS, we saw young people crowdfund on social media and raised a lot of money. We've seen young people crowdfund for people's medical treatment on social media. Do you think crowdfunding would help fix the financial constraints which affects young people when it comes to running for election and participating?
Thank you so much. I was actually going to speak about that because I strongly believe that the youth who also put their funds together to even sponsor or run campaigns at wards, at local governments for an aged political office holder can actually divert that fund to sponsoring a youth. We had the crowdfunding, of course, when we had the NSAS by anonymous individuals. Okay, and that even got the attention of the government, and we're surprised that how were the youth able to raise this fund. So my point is, I am saying that the youth has to participate and come as one, as a group. Okay, raising someone who we believe can push the idea of moving from this analog system of governance to digital system of governance and changing the entire narrative of governance in Nigeria. So if we are able to come together, which I am actually saying right now, I'm calling on all the youths to be out at wards, local governments, the state, the House of Assembly, the House of Rep, the Senate. Somebody asked me when I first got my poster for the President of the Federal Republic out. He said, "Are you serious?" I said, "Yes, I am serious." I thought you were joking. I said, "There's no joke. We have passed that stage of joking about things like this. We need the total transformation, and that instantly. As a matter of fact, this thing we are seeking for, we ought to have gotten it yesterday. So right now we are late already. So I'm calling on the youth to come together, put funds together. All that we use for protests, all the fund we use to support those aged individuals who in the next 10 years won't be here anymore, and all the force, all the issues they are leaving us will be living right with us. I'm calling on them to channel that funds appropriately to helping or sponsoring a youth to hold political offices in Nigeria.
Thank you very, very much. I think that's a great place to leave it, and thanks to both of you for your contribution. To our viewers at home, there you have it. We must play an active role, young people and women, to support our own, to have a seat at the table, which would therefore influence decisions which affect your demography. If you just joined us, you could watch previous episodes and also this episode on YouTube at The Weekend Show NG on YouTube. You can also follow us on social media, Facebook, Instagram and Twitter, The Weekend Show NG. Leave comments and send suggestions of what you would like to see. We are here for you. Wrapping up the show, we do have a musical performance to sign us out. But on my end, my name is Andy Madaki. Do have a blessed weekend and stay safe.